All right, we are
All right.
live.
Hell yeah. Welcome everyone. First ever, first of many, gonna be legendary. First
Yes,
episode,
sir.
the Clutch Pearl Podcast. I am Grant Tanner. Hovering above me, above the earth, in orbit, is Noah Carter.
Yes, sir.
Be your host every week. You're stuck with us. So our main goal of this podcast is we're going to try, keyword here, try to discuss and cover college basketball from the nationwide perspective. But as you can see, I'm a Hawks fan. He's a Fighting Illini fan, baby. So
ILL.
we're gonna give you that broad perspective with the perfect amount of bias. So we're gonna disagree. We're gonna clutch our pearls, and it's gonna be a fun season. So let's get right into it, man.
And before we dive in, we would like to thank Caleb Moss and Media for bringing us the podcast. He's going to help us out with the editing and some of the production side of the podcast. Wouldn't be able to do it all without him. Now, that being said, Grant, what is up with these preseason AP rankings, man? I mean, like Michigan State at 4. What did they do to deserve that?
Not beat James Madison, apparently.
Yeah, clearly. I mean, don't get me wrong, like James Madison, that's a quality squad. Like they're probably going to be, I don't know, like a 10 or 12, but like some of them outlets up there at Michigan State saying they're going to be like eights and nines. No way, dude. No way
I'm
they're going to
gonna
be that high.
I'll hit on this more in a second, but when you return the same team that you've had last year and they weren't very good, one of two things is going to happen. They're either one, still not going to be very good, or two, they're going to be way better. And I think the first option is what you're going to have with Michigan State.
Well, and not even that. They lost their glue guy. They lost Joey Hauser. And you know what I think it leads to? It all leads to quote Tom Izzo had a couple years ago. Coach Tom Izzo said he does not like the transfer portal, hates it, doesn't want to use it, wants to build fresh. In today's world, you absolutely just have to have those guys, man. Like
That
Joey
is,
Hauser, his glue guy, was a transfer portal guy from Virginia.
it's a switch it to football just for a second. Look at Clemson. Look at Clemson right now. Dabo Swinney refuses to use the portal. National powerhouse is currently, I think they're 500 right now, maybe one game over. They're bad. The same thing's happening. Same thing is happening in Michigan right now.
Yeah. Teams that use the portal are teams that win in today's world. Another one I don't like, and I saw it last night in the Barstool Classic, Florida Atlantic. I mean, I just think they're too high. Yeah, they had a great run, but like, and they returned their guys, but Dusty May's squad is good, really good mid major. But in the Big Ten, I mean, I don't know what you think, but they're not beating Illinois when they go
If
to
you
Madison
stick
Square
them, you
Garden.
stick them in any of the Big Six conferences, they go 500 at best. At
I
best.
agree. I
And
agree.
that's not
100%.
that is not a knock on them. Like their run last year was awesome to watch. But you also have to remember number one seed got knocked out in the first round. They missed having to play Purdue. They got Fairleigh
Yeah.
Dickinson second round.
Uh,
Healed them.
yeah. I mean, I don't know. Like, I just think that they do this every year. They've done it with North Carolina last year. Like, there's always a team. And I mean, I think Florida Atlantic's going to make the tournament. I think they're better than North Carolina was, but
Oh yeah,
I just don't.
they'll probably
I just
win.
don't
They'll
see
probably
them.
win 30 games this season, but they don't play in a Power Five conference.
Yeah, they're playing in the new look American, which lost all its powerhouses.
Yep.
I mean, specifically, no Houston anymore. I mean, plain and simple. Another team that I think is an overreaction is Miami at 13. Now, I'm going to get into them a lot later, so I don't want to touch on them too much. They're a good squad, they're a veteran squad, but I don't know. I just don't know if I'm sold. That's another team that looked good last year, but I don't know if it's going to be sustained.
I have one that differs from you in this category, and maybe this is low hanging fruit. They're the media's baby, but Purdue. I am not high on Purdue. The media loves Zach Edey, loves Purdue, loves Painter. More power to him. But we saw it, what, 2 weeks ago when they played Arkansas in an exhibition game.
Yeah.
Their guards got lit up.
I
They
mean,
don't have
come
they don't
on.
have the guard.
Lance Jones was not good at SIU, man. How's he going to be good at Purdue?
Now, don't get me wrong. They're going to be top three in the Big Ten. That can be a discussion for later. But they do not have the makeup to win a national championship. Probably not even get out of the second weekend at best.
Yeah, absolutely. The teams with guys like Zach Edey, they win a lot of regular season games because of Zach Edey. But when it comes to postseason time, yeah, they're not making it out the first weekend. I don't care who they play. One last one, and I know you're a big SEC guy, but the one last questionable I have is Kentucky at 16. I mean, what are we putting Wade in? Like, is it just because Cal used to be good with all these freshmen? Like, he went back to his freshman oriented squad. Like, this is the same team that when they went all freshmen a couple years ago, just got destroyed. Like, just could not win games. I mean, are we just expecting them to turn it around?
They they're too talented not to put in the top 25 somewhere. But are they worth 16? I don't know. Stick them at 21, 22. Let them play a few games. They're going to figure out real quick what they're made of. They got they got Kansas coming up. Like
Yeah,
it's
it's
they're going to figure it out.
yeah, definitely. That's one thing about Cal. He's always got him a good schedule coming to him. His guys will be battle tested. All right, now for the two lows. To me,
All right,
Arizona's got to be in the top 10. Oh, sorry. Is there another one for you?
oh no, I was hopping in on the too low. I'm high on somebody. I'm ready to get after it, man.
Yes, sir. Arizona, I mean, they have to be top 10. What has Tommy Lloyd done to not be top 10, man? Like, he just does it every year.
I'll be straight up with you. I don't watch that much Pac-12 basketball. I don't watch much West Coast basketball. One, I can't stay up that late to watch the games. I'm clocked out by like 9:45, dude.
Working man over here.
But no, I'm excited for their game with Duke. That's going to be the first time I will really see them play. I can give you more in detail report next week. I did not watch. Have they played a game yet?
I think they might have played, but I mean, it was nobody significant.
I
I
didn't.
think they're, I think them and Duke face off tomorrow, right? I think
Yeah.
that's what I got. Yeah, that'll be a big
Thank
test. That'd be a
thank
fun one to
thank
watch.
the Lord, dude. I mean, I love basketball, but this first week has been brutal, brutal, terrible scheduling. They need to fix that. That can be a
Yeah,
discussion for another time, but oh my
yeah.
gosh.
I mean, I think it was
I
Jeff
think on
Goodman on Twitter hit it on the nose, man. Like, why women's basketball? I mean, awesome. All the matchups, awesome. Men's basketball has just been horrible. Like, I was
and
playing
you think
Virginia Tech tonight, women's basketball night. That's awesome.
there was 158 games on Monday. I think that's the number. Don't quote me on that. But well over 100 games. Many of those weren't even playing Division One schools.
Yeah,
And the NCAA expects to compete with Monday Night Football, with women's basketball. Caitlin Clark, probably the most famous college athlete in the nation right now.
yes, exactly. Like, to me, you want to play that Illinois Kansas game on TV, Purdue Arkansas on TV. Why not switch them? Why not make that one a game that counts? I mean, could you imagine what kind of resume building that puts on number 25 Illinois over number 1
Just to
Kansas?
play devil's advocate here, though, if you're a coach, say, take Eric Musselman, you just brought in 72 new guys out of the portal. You don't really know what you got yet. You don't want to
Yeah,
go
but that's
schedule
the
your first
thing though.
game. You don't want to go
Yeah.
schedule your first game against another Power Five powerhouse and just get obliterated on
Yeah.
live TV. You want to
Yeah.
play those games, which
And I see
this could be a whole other thing. The NCAA needs to let you have more exhibition games,
yeah.
something.
Yeah. And I mean, I see your argument there, but like, I mean, Kansas played mostly just 6 guys their whole game against Illinois. Like they didn't Coach Bill Self didn't spread it out. The foul trouble didn't hurt or didn't help Illinois as much as it helped Kansas. They had 3 guys that would have fouled out in a real game. Like, I don't know. And I mean, maybe it's just my Illinois bias going on here, but I don't know. I just think that that game hurts that it doesn't count, you know?
I It does, because that was a hell of a game. Same with Michigan State, Tennessee, hell of a game.
Yeah,
Doesn't even
Arkansas,
count.
Purdue. I mean, Arkansas is another one I have. I think they got to be pushing the top 10, as does Alabama and Illinois. All 4 of those teams, if they're not in the top 10, they should be right outside it. All 4 of those, to me, were undervalued for a multitude of reasons.
Illinois was on my list, but I will tell you who I am. I'm extremely high on the Baylor Bears. They have
After
some
watching them
dogs,
last night,
dude. Jacoby
they do.
Walter. Jacoby Walter is going to be an All-American. He could be the best freshman in the country right now. He's legit.
And the guy I like on that squad, I wanted him at Illinois, but I mean, there's no better coach for him than Scott Drew, and that's Ray J. Dennis. I mean, that
Dog,
dude
dude.
can
He's got
flat
a hand
play,
in he had a hand in
but
everything that happened in that game the other day. They were
yeah,
calling his
but
name left and right.
he's one of those guys though. He needs a guy like Scott Drew. I mean, you saw what Matthew Meyer did, for example, when he left Scott Drew and went to Illinois. He just went crazy, just throwing shots up left and right. He didn't do that at Baylor. I think Ray J. Dennis, same situation. I think he's gonna be very controlled. I think he's gonna. I think he's gonna help that squad a lot.
I mean, not to mention Eves Missy, Jalen Bridges, Everyday John. I don't know how to say his last name. I'm not even gonna attempt it. It's so many letters.
Yeah, dude.
But I mean, they are legit. They are legit. Like that's gonna be a top 5 team this season. Mark my words.
I can
They're gonna
most
they're
definitely
gonna
see that.
they're gonna seriously challenge Kansas for the Big 12. I'll hit on that later.
All right, you ready to get to our second topic? Because I sure am.
I got one more question for you.
All right.
Who
Bring it
was
at me.
who was snubbed from the preseason top 25?
Auburn.
I agree 100%. They did
That's
not
the
win
only.
that game against Baylor.
I honestly feel like
They're
they.
old, they're experienced. They play some defense.
I think
You're
they
not going to
did a
see
pretty good
they led
job.
almost the whole game.
Yeah, yeah. I think they did a pretty good job of what 25 teams got in outside of Auburn. I would put Auburn in there, North Carolina out. Uh, although I mean, it could be debated who's out, but I just think the order they got them in was a little bit questionable.
All
All
right.
right, so the
I know you're excited for this next topic, so it's all yours.
game so game so far. I mean, what are we doing, Michigan State? What is happening with Tom Izzo's squad losing to
All right.
James Madison?
How how worried are you if you're a Michigan State fan right now?
Oh, I mean, I got a lot of poop in my britches, man. Like,
But if you look, they went 1 for 20, 1 for 20 from the 3-point line. That's not going to happen every game.
yeah, but to play devil's advocate to you, they didn't shoot it good last year. They had one guy that really shot it good consistently outside of Tyson Walker, who obviously we can get into here in a
Dog,
little bit.
dog.
Uh, but that was Joey Hauser. He's not there anymore. He's gone. That's their shooter.
Eh,
He's
Did
their
you happen to catch Izzo's statements after the game?
no, I didn't really look into it too much.
I can't give you the exact quote. I don't have it pulled up, but more or less he said we don't have a leader in the locker room. I'm getting serious North Carolina vibes from last year or Illinois, same kind of thing. There's turmoil
Yeah,
going on behind the scenes we won't see.
yeah.
They're going to underperform.
You know, last year the guy that they really missed more than anybody, Illinois, you mentioned, was Jacob Grandison. He went to Duke because he just didn't fit the roster. Like he didn't have a starting spot anymore because Illinois was bringing it. I mean, they brought in a lot of dudes, but they didn't mesh well. They didn't have that Jacob Grandison that was just great in the locker room to bring those guys together. And I think the same thing with Joey Hauser at Michigan State, just like you mentioned.
I
Got to have a
think
glue guy.
I think that's going to be something we're going to see a lot more as the transfer portal, NIL, all that stuff keeps going. You're going to bring in what on paper should be a super team. They just don't. They don't mesh. It's going to happen more and more to big
Yeah,
schools like we've seen the last 2 years. It's going to keep happening. It's going to
especially
be
because
disappointing.
especially because the transfer portal is, coaches are having to not only go out and recruit, the young freshmen to bring in, but they're also now recruiting transfers to bring in. In fact, they're recruiting their own players. Brad Underwood said it. Eric Musselman said it. He's like, I'm having trouble recruiting my own players, let alone recruiting other people. Like, and that's what a lot of teams like are starting to do. You see guys like I think, and why I'm so high on Arkansas and Illinois. It's not just because we're fans of them. It's because they went out and got the right guys. Last year, I thought both guys went out and just got guys that were just they were dudes. They didn't go out and get the right guys, and that's why they ended up winning 8 and 9 seeds when they should have been 4s and 5s.
Hmm.
Like Musselman getting Davenport. Like that's huge. He was huge to me. I felt like he was huge. A huge get.
Dude,
Marcus
this
Damask, that's the new glue guy at Illinois.
stemming off that, we had this discussion a couple days ago. We were texting about it. If you're a Power Five coach right now, how important is it to recruit freshmen? I mean, theoretically, you don't even need to do that anymore.
You need to get one guy that fits your culture. You need to hit
If
on
you're
one
gonna,
guy. You need to bring in 2 or 3, but you need to hit on one guy. I feel like Illinois last year, they brought in what 3, 4 freshmen. Only one of them did they, maybe two, but one did they really hit on. Ty Rogers, glue guy. And he said it. He went out and said it in the Austin. He's like, them other guys, they just didn't want to be here. They weren't about it. You got to get guys that are about it.
same thing with Arkansas. They brought in a absolutely loaded freshman class last year. You know how many guys are left?
Exactly. And I mean,
Granted,
some because of the
granted,
NBA. I
three
mean,
of them were NBA draft picks.
yeah.
Granted, but still, the other two, see ya, don't need you, out of
And
here.
that's why I'm so confused about Kentucky because they did the right thing last year when I think it was last year, maybe the year before, when they went out and got Xavier Wheeler and Antonio Reeves. Those were great gets that kind of flew under the radar. They just fit Coach Cal's culture. Now they've went back to trying to get a bunch of these 5-star, 4-star freshmen. Now, how's it going to work? Are these guys going to play together? Is one guy going to sacrifice for the other? Are they going to trade whose nights it are or it is? Excuse me. Like what's
We're,
going to
we're
happen?
gonna, we're gonna, they'll find out. They don't play an easy schedule. The SEC is
Yeah,
loaded. Their non-conference schedule, it's not easy either. The time's coming. What
and
what did our old coach say? Pressure either makes diamonds or busts pipes.
yeah. And before I get into who I think or the top conferences, I'm going to say the Big Ten. I'm a Big Ten fan. I mean, Big Ten advocate, but it is horrible this year. Outside outside of Illinois, I mean, Purdue's going to win a lot of games. They're not going to succeed in the postseason. They're going to win a lot of games. Wisconsin, I will say Michigan looked really good the other night, but Rutgers without Mulcahy, they looked horrible. They lost to Princeton. Like, I mean, Michigan State lost to James Madison. Ohio
And
State about got beat by Oakland.
I haven't checked the score, but they had not looked good so far tonight either. Michigan State, that is.
Yeah,
I
I
caught
mean,
the first few minutes.
I don't know. I mean, I personally think Illinois and Wisconsin are the two teams. If you had to pick two teams out of the Big Ten, those are the two that I would say can probably make a run in the tournament. Just the way they're built, they make a lot of threes. This year, squads do. They guard. I mean, Purdue. That's their thing about their guards. I don't feel like their guards guard at all. They don't. They don't play defense.
Touching
They
back to
just
their
rely on
exhibition,
Edie.
you saw that in the exhibition with Arkansas. Arkansas a lot of super athletic guards. They come in waves. They're deep this year. Purdue could not handle it.
Yeah, exactly.
They couldn't
And what
shoot.
are
They
they?
shot, I don't know the percentage, but they did not shoot it well. They couldn't handle the pressure on the outside, on the wings. That's why they're going to get beat in the tournament. That's why they're not. I picked them to win the Big Ten. Spoiler alert. But I'm hoping that doesn't happen. I don't think it will happen.
uh, I mean, and that's the thing is that's why spoiler alert, they're not my pick because Wisconsin, Illinois, like those got both of those squads, Greg Gard and Brad Underwood, did a great job of bringing a bunch of guys that fit their culture, and now they can just bring them in waves. They can bring in 5 guys off the bench at once if they wanted to. That could be starters on any given night, at least. And Purdue doesn't have the depth to do that. What happens if Edey gets in foul trouble? Are you going to rely on Fletcher Lawyer? I think that's his name, right?
Dude,
and
I couldn't even
and
tell you. I mean,
and Lance
that just
Jones
goes to
from
show.
SIU. I mean, Lance Jones, when Damask was out last year, he couldn't carry a mid major. How's he going to carry Purdue when Edey's out? Because right now he's probably their second or third best player. And that's why I don't think Purdue is going to win, which we will get into later. But in my opinion, the Big 12 and Big East, top of the conferences from what I've seen so far. I don't see anybody else rivaling that, I should say.
Moving onwards. I touched on this a lot earlier. I told you how high I am on them. That Baylor Auburn game, I couldn't look away, dude. That was a great game.
Oh my God. I mean, I was
And we
glued
we
to
hit
that
on Auburn a
TV.
little. We hit on Auburn a little bit too. Are experienced. They're well coached. Hate Bruce Pearl, but they're well coached. They got after Baylor. They had them down. They had them down probably 80% of the game. But I think
Definitely.
that goes to show you. That goes to show you, even for a relatively newly put together squad in Baylor, they clawed back against an experienced Power Five team, a good Power Five team.
Yeah.
They're legit. They're legit.
So who you think's best conference? I'm ready to hear this.
I, Me personally, it's between the SEC and the Big East.
SEC and Big East.
And
I can see the SEC in a
The
sense,
SEC
but
is com compared to years prior. I mean, look at the top of the conference right now. You have Kentucky, they're always going to be a threat. They may not be this year. Tennessee, elite. Arkansas, elite. Alabama has a chance to be elite. Texas A&M, don't forget about them. Wade Taylor, my guy. They're going to be top of the conference. They're going to be fighting for it. But then even the next tier down, Mississippi State, Tolu Smith, that's a good program. Ole Miss, who knows what they could be. We got Chris Beard at the helm now.
yeah.
Vanderbilt highly disappointed me. How do you lose to Presbyterian?
I don't know, dude. I
George is
mean,
getting better. LSU is getting better.
Georgia, RJ Melendez looked really good. He got to go play freely there. I think he's going to be a good get for them. I
We
liked him
just
when he was at Illinois, but he just didn't really like. I don't know. He didn't flow in the way their offense was last year. He needed a new start, and he's got one. It looks like he's going to excel.
there, I mean, there's no one to sneeze at in the SEC this year is what I'm getting at. There's no road game. If you're in Arkansas, if you're in Kentucky, you're in Tennessee, you can't take any road game lightly. Can't take any home game lightly. I mean, look what Vanderbilt did last year. They didn't look that good at the beginning of the season. They went on that run at the end. They beat Tennessee. They beat Kentucky twice in 2 weeks. Should have made the tournament. Got snubbed. We started on that. Closet
Yeah,
Vandy fan.
yeah, definitely.
But the Big East, I don't even need to explain myself. I don't think we have the reigning national champs. We have Marquette, elite. Creighton is going to be good. Rick Pitino at St. John's now.
Although
Here's a
they
question.
looked bad
Here's
the
a
other
question
night.
for you.
They looked bad.
Here's a question. Do they end up making the tournament?
I mean, I have trouble counting against Patino, but man, they looked bad the other night.
Yeah, here's some trivia for you. How many times has Rick Pitino made the tournament in his first year?
I'm gonna go every time.
0 times, actually. Can you believe that?
Really?
Yeah. Who'd have thunk
Didn't know
that?
that. I thought this was gonna be the
We'll see.
first. I didn't.
We'll see. We'll probably post this out. Turn out to be wrong. That's what old Matt Norlander said on Eye on College Basketball. So
Yeah. But let's get back to topic three. Uh, best of the rest non-conference games to look at in the coming week. On Friday, I mean, we got a pretty good slate. Tomorrow's the first day with really good ones. We got Arizona, Duke, Texas A&M, Ohio State, but Tennessee, Wisconsin. I think that one is going to be a really good one. I think people are going to finally see how good this Wisconsin squad is going to be. I like AJ Storr on that squad.
I will say they're all right. The game I'm most looking forward to is Arizona and Duke.
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah,
How
that's
how
we're
good
gonna.
how good is Duke this year? How
Yeah,
much stock are you buying?
I mean, I don't want to give too much away, but
They're
John Shire squad, uh, they're legit, but they're susceptible to the upset under him. I don't know how good of a coach he is. I'm not convinced of him yet. I'm just not.
regardless of how good
Tommy
of a coach he is,
Tommy.
he's a hell of a recruiter.
Oh
Oh
yeah,
my gosh.
but what?
He might be better than Coach K in that regard. And
Oh yeah,
you can tell me, oh, he's at Duke. He's at Duke. It doesn't matter. You
no, it
still got to build
matters.
the relationship.
Yeah,
Like you don't just pull a Cooper flag for no reason.
yeah,
That could be another topic.
but
That kid's good.
oh yeah,
Good.
yeah, but one thing I am gonna say for sure. I don't know if they're going to win because I mean sometimes just good players just win games, but in games like that, usually you see who's the better coach. And early on in the
Where
season like this, Tommy
where is that
Lloyd.
game at? I didn't write it down. Where was that?
Uh, I didn't either. Let me look it up real fast here. Arizona. It's at Duke. It's at Cameron Indoor.
You you don't just
But
go into Cameron and win.
I
You don't
mean,
just do
Illinois
that.
did it a couple years ago. To Coach K in his last year. Tommy Lloyd,
Hey,
dude, I'm telling you.
I'm not saying it doesn't happen. I'm not saying it doesn't happen, but I'm saying you got the Cameron Crazies. You have probably the best 7-footer in the college game in Filipowski.
Yeah, but I don't know, man. Tommy
They're
Lloyd,
deep. That's
he's
this is a deep
is
Duke team.
is Arizona's big man back? Do you know? I mean, I assume he is. Omar, is it Diallo or Ballo?
Yeah, I don't know, man.
I
Like
think
I
he's
said,
back,
I don't
and
follow the Pac-12 that.
I mean, Filipowski is going to struggle with him. That dude is a monster. He reminds me of uh, what am I trying to get out here? Of a Kofi Coburn. Sorry. Yeah, the file just went through there. I got sidetracked.
Yeah,
Sorry,
that
but yeah, he
you
reminds me
got
of Kofi Coburn a lot.
a Friday tomorrow. Tomorrow will be a good day. I'm
Yeah.
gonna fast forward it to Tuesday. These are the two
Can
games
I
I am the
temper you
most
for a
excited
second?
for.
Can I temper you for a second?
Okay,
Monday's
okay.
got a sneaky good one coming on. Xavier and Purdue. Sean Miller might give it to Matt Painter.
I wouldn't be surprised one bit. I wouldn't. You wouldn't surprise me
Sean
with it.
Sean Miller by stock and Xavier. Okay, now go ahead and get to your Tuesday.
First, Marquette, Illinois. It's gonna feel like an Elite Eight game. It's gonna be
Oh yeah.
awesome. It's gonna be great.
It's in Chambana. Shaka Smart knows what he's doing scheduling that
That's
game.
it's. I don't want to say too much about it. I want to let it play out. I want to see what happens. It's gonna be great. But then I hit on this next one earlier. We got Kansas and Kentucky. We're gonna find out. We're gonna find out what Cal's team's about.
And you know what happens before both of those games is Duke and Michigan State. And after the way they've been playing, you got to think that Tom Izzo's squad's going to come out ready to play in a game like that. That could be part of the issue why they're not playing so good. I mean, you and I have been on teams that does that. It's hard to play when you know you got a game like that coming up. It just is.
Agreed. Agreed.
I
And
mean,
when
we
you're playing John Brown University or whoever you're
yeah,
playing, how you gonna get up for John Brown on a Thursday, dude?
yeah, like there's no shot. Yeah, so we got Duke and Michigan State at 6, Marquette at Illinois at 7, and then Kansas and Kentucky at 8:30. I mean, that is a great slate. That's the first big day in college basketball this year.
Agreed. Looking forward to it. I will be glued to the TV, son.
I mean, there's no way to not be pumped up about those, man.
So you want to move on? This is gonna be our favorite segment. I can already
Oh
tell.
yeah, we're gonna go on for a little bit, I think.
I'll let you do the honors, man. The floor is yours if you want it.
Hog Heaven and the Flying Illini. Are you ready for this?
Lay it on me, man. Let's go.
Start us off with your Hog Heaven here down there in Fayetteville.
I'm gonna start this off with 2 words, but I'm gonna make it 3 words. Trevin MFing Brazil. The dude
You
is a
love him.
walking highlight reel. Walking highlight reel. First play of the season for the Arkansas Razorbacks. Brazil puts it on a dude's head. 3 of them in 7 minutes to start that game. I don't care if we're playing Acorn State. I don't care if we're playing Presbyterian. I don't care if we're playing St. Mary's School of the Blind. I'm gonna get up and yell when Trevin Brazil puts it on somebody's head, boy.
I don't blame you one bit. And I mentioned it earlier. What's not to like about Davenport, man? I
He's
love that
solid.
dude.
He's sneaky. I hate how he shoots, but he goes in.
Yeah, I mean, he cooked Illinois a couple years ago. Kept kept us from getting our dream matchup of Illinois Arkansas that we ended up getting in the tournament last year.
Aside, aside, so we've mentioned Brazil. If you don't know what I'm talking about, YouTube the man. You only need to see one game highlights and you're gonna understand. He's 6'10". He
I
can
mean,
jump through the roof. He's hitting
hammer
NBA
after hammer.
threes.
How did Dennis Gates let that man go when it came to Como?
It, just just close your eyes for a second and dream with me. We're in 2022, starting the season. We're playing UNC Greensboro. Trevin Brazil does not tear his ACL. Nick Smith gets back early. What does this Arkansas team do? I'm dreaming Final Four. I'm dreaming championship game against UConn because we get the other 1 seed. Oh my God, what could have been, son? What could have
You
been?
know what? I think Nick I think Nick Smith brought that team down at times.
The too much drama around him. If he could have just played, if he could have just played from November to March, would have been fine. But you can't just take someone who needs the ball in his hands all the time to be effective. You can't take that man and
I don't
drop
know.
him in late February.
He's kind of a diva. He reminds me of Sky Clark.
The kid's good though.
Yeah.
But I will say, him being gone let us see Anthony Black's full potential, and I will forever be grateful for Anthony Black. Dude's a dog. He started off his NBA career shooting 100%. His first 10 shots sunk him. Didn't miss till number 11. That's pretty good if you ask me.
Yeah. So you ready to get to these flying Illini or what?
Let me do 2 more points on Arkansas, then
Oh,
I'll
keep
let you
going. I
have it.
thought you were done. I thought you were done. My bad.
I could go on all day. You gotta temper me down. We're good though. The biggest thing I've noticed, granted, it is early. We've only played 2 exhibitions and 1 real game. Next one tomorrow. But it's not that hard to be better at 3-point shooting when you ranked over number 300 in the country last year. But you hit on it. Davenport can shoot it. L. Ellis can shoot it. Devo, when he wants to, can shoot it. This team, this team,
Devo.
this team can shoot it, man. They can do it. Brazil shoots a high clip for a big man. Matchup nightmare. So you got your shooters. Then we brought in Caleb Battle. We brought in L. Ellis, like I said, from Louisville. Mature guards. This team's built different. There's something brewing in Fayetteville, man. It's gonna be a good season. I'm excited.
Yeah, they're good down there. Uh, can I go now?
Oh, it's all you. Sorry,
Oh
it's
yeah,
all you.
these flying Illini, man. They got the stars. They got the shooters. They got the lockdown defenders. They got the depth. If Brad Underwood is going to make it out of the first weekend, this is a squad. I mean, got the stars. You got preseason All American, former All American, Terrence Shannon Jr. That dude just balls, man. Like,
He's a stud. He's a
oh,
stud.
he when he wants to get a bucket, he can get a bucket. Like, it's unbelievable. I watched him in that Kansas game. Like, he just all of a sudden, Illinois was kind of struggling a little bit, not getting much going on. Kansas was going on a little run to get back in it. And Shannon just goes down there, drives the lane, gets fouled, and won. Like, just what he does. And then you got Hawkins. Hawkins isn't going to score every single night. It's not what he
He's gonna
does.
he's gonna try
But
his hardest though. He'll sling it. He'll sling it,
but
dude.
he can. But I mean, Coach Underwood said it. Like he wants him to shoot. He's gotten so much better from the 3-point line. What are the rest of these Big Ten teams going to do with him? Like, I think
I
he's going to
will I will
run
say it. I will
through
say
the
it.
Big Ten.
If Coleman Hawkins is on any given night, he turns it on, it's over. You ain't beating the Illini.
No, I mean, look at that Kansas game. He just all of a sudden he was like, "I'm feeling it." Had a chance to go get a dunk, and he said, "Nah, I'm going to shoot a three." Whack. Like, but then you got on top of that, brings in just some serious glue guys that fit the culture. They're down to do less roles. They've been in kind of the star roles, and they want less roles. Just be role players, be glue guys. Marcus Damask, Quincy Guerrier. I mean, those guys, they just like get on the boards. Damask, I mean, that spin move hook that he has, I mean, nobody guards it. It's
The Saluki
unbelievable.
special, boy.
I don't know how. I don't know how that always goes in, but he never misses that shot. Spins to his right shoulder. I mean, I could make a scouting report on him, have the best defender in the world on him, and I think he still would score that shot. And I mean, he just flat guards. I mean, he played the most minutes the other night against Eastern Illinois. He played 29, and then Shannon played 26. But I mean, Brad Underwood just goes deep. I'm looking here. He had 6 guys that played over 10 minutes. I mean, granted, some of that was probably garbage time, but not really that much. Like, he just spreads it out. He's got all those guys can play. I mean, he's got a freshman led him off the bench, Gibbs Lawhorn. I mean, that dude, he's a combination of Sincere Harris. He's got his grit, but he's got Sky Clark's talent. And I think, I mean, on any given night, he may just take over a game. But I mean, he's not going to do it every game because he's a freshman. I mean, it's just the way it is. But Ty Rodgers, I think he's the perfect guy to run the point for the Illini. I wasn't sure how it was going to be when Brad was talking about it over the summer, but he just facilitates, and I mean, 1 through 5, they're all basically the same height. There's not much different. They just guard the hell out of people. Like, I mean, that's what you got to do. And then you got Goody off the bench. Anytime you need a three, whack. Like, I mean, I could just go down the line on and on. I mean, that squad is good. That's not even talking about Dane Danger. The danger
Ooh,
zone going to get you some points. I mean,
he's got to be on the all name team as well. I
oh
love his
yeah.
name.
I mean, the
It's
Illini
danger
are
time, boy.
flying high right now. I mean, come in the danger zone because the Illini are going to win some games.
All right, you ready? You ready to do some conference futures?
Absolutely. I can start it up if you'd like.
All right, let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Conference. We'll each give our answer. We'll move on to the next one.
All right. First, I'll let you start it since you're the SEC guy. Let's go with the SEC.
All right, I hit on this earlier. It's going to be tight at the top of the SEC. It's going to be tight, but I think when it boils down to it, there's two teams that I have circled that are gonna. I think they're gonna take the 1 and 2 spot and they're gonna battle for it. That's Arkansas and that's Tennessee.
I can see that.
And admittedly, I haven't watched enough Tennessee yet. It's still early, but man, this Arkansas squad is deep. They're running hockey style line changes, and there's no drop off between the A and B squad. I, give me the Hogs. I'm trying to say this as unbiasedly as possible, but I will give me the Hogs as your 2023-2024 SEC
I'm
regular
gonna
season
I'm
champions.
gonna temper your expectations because as you text me the other day, I mean the Hogs are bound to lose to Vanderbilt this year. It just happens every year.
Hey,
Like,
there is no Scottie Pippen Jr. now though.
give me Tennessee. I really like this squad. I mean they tore Michigan State to pieces in
So
that
did James Madison
preseason
though, to
game.
be fair.
I mean, to be fair, yeah. But I don't know. I really like Tennessee. I think they're a good squad. I think they're well coached. I think they run a really good system. But I will say Arkansas, Alabama, Auburn, and even Kentucky to an extent, I think they're a little more distant just because they're going to have some growing pains. I think all those teams could win any of those four or five.
Don't don't sleep on A&M. Don't sleep on them.
Yeah, I don't know. I have trouble. I have trouble getting behind them. Not just in basketball either. I just have trouble getting behind them in everything. They get all these big names and never do anything with it. Basketball, football, baseball, you name it.
All right, I pulled up the schedule so I could be for sure. But circle this now. Valentine's Day, Wednesday, February 14th. Tennessee comes to Fayetteville to come to the Bud. That game will decide the SEC. That's my prediction. Winner of that
Could
game
be,
wins the conference.
could very well be. All right, you ready to go to your Big Ten pick? Give it to me.
You're not gonna like what I picked, but I will preface this with saying I hope it does not happen. But I think the Big Ten is produced to lose. Until until they lose it, it is theirs. But but Illinois is right there.
Coach Coach Underwood's got something cooking in Chambana, bud. I'm telling you. And that's obviously who my pick is. But I will say it very well could be Purdue because Matt
There,
Painter and Zach Edey, they just have a way with them Big Ten referees, man. I mean, I don't know how many times
if
I've
we're
watched Edey
you
just, I mean, absolutely hack the crap out of somebody, no call. And not just in Illinois. I mean, that was against anybody. And I don't even hate
Matt
Purdue. I
Painter
just
might be the best regular season coach in the country.
it's
I
because
mean,
he's the
the
best
dude
referee
dominates the regular season.
he's the best referee manipulator of all time. I mean, he's the goat of that.
That just they're too dominant in the regular season. They almost have to be your pick right now.
But
2 weeks from now, that could change.
but
But
like
right
I
now, I
said
got to
though,
go
I
Purdue.
like I said, I love Illinois and Wisconsin's depth, and I think both of those teams are going to give Purdue trouble. And why I think Illinois ends up pulling it out because Brad Underwood owns Greg Gard. I mean, he just does. I watched it in person last year. He just does. Wisconsin could have a better squad, and Underwood's going to go win in Madison if that's where it's at. I mean, like it doesn't matter. Now I'm going to
All
move on
right.
to the Big 12. If you're
Yes,
all right with
sir.
that,
It's fine with me.
you're probably not going to like this,
You
but
already know my pick for the Big 12, but let's hear
but
yours.
I'm
Let's hear it.
I'm going Kansas. I mean, Dickinson, phenomenal regular season player, and the way the Big 12 is kind of built this year, these teams, they kind of remind me of past Big 10 squads. Like they're kind of built around the big man as a whole. They just are. And I mean, if you're doing that, you got to go with Dickinson. I mean, he's got the best point guard in the country passing to him, in my opinion, and DeJuan Harris. I mean, I'm just not overthinking this one. I'm going Kansas.
You know, you know what I'm about to say. You know what I'm about to say. I'm high on them Baylor Bears,
Got
man.
Drew.
I'm high
I
on them Baylor
know.
Bears. You text me about it. Have you ever seen Scott Drew that fired up before?
Oh, absolutely
He
not.
knows.
He
He
won a
knows he
national
has something.
he won a national title and did not give a fist pump and yell like he did against Auburn. Like I couldn't believe it. I was baffled. I've never seen him show that much.
So I understand Kansas got Dickinson. The media is in love with Kansas. Right, rightfully so. Like, let's be honest, rightfully so.
Yeah, they're
But
stacked.
give me give me the Baylor Bears, dude. They're this good right now.
I
And like
think
they're new together. Just give them a month. Give them
come
2 months.
come
What are they
post
going to be?
come postseason time, the Baylor Bears could be a force to be reckoned with. But through the whole regular season, through the Big 12 tough schedule, give me the Kansas Jayhawks out there in Lawrence.
We also got to take into consideration we now have Houston in the Big 12. How much weight are you putting in Houston?
Good squad, but I think it's Baylor or Kansas this year. I think Houston's going to have some growing pains moving to the Big 12. I do.
I think Texas, and Houston battle it out for third place.
I I
And
agree.
those are
I
good. Those
really
are
do.
good squads.
Yeah, I really do. Hey, don't sleep on K State either. Good
They
squad.
they they weren't overly impressive against UNC or
Yeah, but
USC. Sorry.
Jerome Tang, he's going to get them guys cooking by the time conference play goes. I'm convinced. He's a good coach. All right, move on to the SEC. What you got? Or ACC, sorry. What you got?
I don't have that much on them. It's Duke's to lose, in my opinion.
See, I'm going to go with Miami. I mean, the polls are I said earlier the polls are too high on them, but at the same time and I mean, Duke right now has a pretty good ranking, but and I think they're more talented and probably the better overall team, but I don't know. As I mentioned earlier, I just think John Shire he's susceptible to upsets at this stage in his career early on,
Can we
and
talk
I think
about
it.
Miami for 1 second? I
Yeah,
can't be the only person who's thought this. Jim Larinaga is like Jim Boeheim's clone.
and that's why I think they're going to win the ACC.
They look the exact same, dude.
All right, yeah, I don't have much on the ACC though either, but yeah, I just think those couple of those upsets are going to prove costly and make it sway Miami's way.
Fair
Pac-12,
enough. All
always
right,
an underrated conference that performs well in the
call
tourney,
me,
like the Big 12.
call me Bill Walton, but could be, could be pretty good. It could be some entertaining ball. Now, am I gonna stay up and watch it? Not a chance. But, but there's some good teams out there, dude. USC, they got a guard trio right now. They're legit. They're pretty good.
Yeah,
But I got to take Arizona still.
I mean, how could you not? I mean, I got to go with Tommy Lloyd's squad in Tucson as well. I mean, I'm here with Maui Bill here, sitting in Hawaii, but so I'm surprised that he's not talking more about the Pac-12. But no, seriously, I mean, Tommy Lloyd. I mean, I like the Caleb Love edition. I think if he can get him a little more under control, I think he can be a force to be reckoned with for Tommy Lloyd's squad. And last but
If
not least, we got the Big East.
I can hit one more thing on the Pac-12 though.
Oh yeah, totally.
I don't count out Mick Cronin's Bruins. You can't count them out. They're going to be decent. They could make a run. Same thing with Oregon. If
Hey,
I had more details to give you, I would. But like I said, schedule 7 p.m. game. I'll watch it. 10 o'clock, I'm out.
there's a sleeper out there in Maui. They could win some games, maybe win that tournament.
We can move to the Big East now. I'm ready.
Yeah, go ahead. I'll let you go first.
It- like I said earlier, best or second best conference in the country. They are stacked. This conference is stacked. I mean, I was looking at the preseason media polls before this. You have the reigning national champions at number 4 in your preseason poll.
Yeah, and I mean,
And
granted, they lost some guys, but still.
still, they're still dang good. But Give me Marquette. Give me Shaka's crew. But
I
I
love
I will
I
say
love that pick.
I won't be surprised one bit if a Creighton or a Villanova even makes a run at them. I
Villanova,
wouldn't
they
be
got a veteran
surprised.
squad. They got a veteran squad this year. They're going to be good.
They're not getting enough love. I should have said that earlier. They're not getting enough love.
I agree. And
Who you
I
got? Who
mean,
you got?
you could go a ton of ways with it as you mentioned, but I just love the way Shaka Smart set up that schedule this year. I mean, look at their non-conference. They're playing Illinois in Chambana. Then they're going out to Maui, and that's probably the most star-studded that tournament has ever been, in my opinion, or at least in the recent memory, I should say. And then he's going to go to play Wisconsin in Madtown, always tough. Then going to go play Texas and close out the non-conference with Notre Dame. It's a new look squad under Micah Shrewsbury. I mean, that is a stacked non-conference schedule. They're going to be battle tested, and I just think because I mean they're playing games like that like all the time, they're going to be best set up for the early on Big East. And that in the Big East historically, the team that wins the first half tends to win that regular season title.
Um, Marquette's league right now.
I think so too. Shaka's got a good squad up there. So you want me to give you my Elite Eight picks now?
Let's hear it. Let's hear it.
I'm going
Surprise me.
Kansas. I'm going Arkansas. Going Baylor. I'm going Illinois. Going Houston. Going Villanova, Marquette, and North Texas. The
The
Mean
Whataburger special,
Green.
baby.
Sponsored by Whataburger. Went 31-7 last year. Returned most of their guys. Very veteran squad. This team is just got the makings of that Cinderella. I remember talking to you about a few years ago when Ohio had Jason Preston. You remember how high I was on them all year
All
long.
you talked about the month of March. Jason Preston.
And you
Jason
know what?
Preston.
He went off. And I got the same thing going on about the North Texas Mean Green. They're gonna get it done. And I think they're gonna not only make the Elite Eight, but they're going to the Final Four with Kansas, Illinois, and Arkansas.
All right, I'm gonna say this just so I can pick out your contradiction here. How are you gonna tell me the FAU is gonna underperform when they lost only 4 games last season, one of those being in the tournament? Bring back the same starting five, and you don't think they can do it again, but you're gonna pick North Texas.
Here's why. Because FAU is no longer in Conference USA. They no longer have as much of a cupcake. They're going to Madison Square Garden to play Illinois. Probably going to get manhandled. From what I saw in that Barstool Classic, I'm sorry. I mean, they ain't got nobody can guard Terrence Shannon Jr. Nobody. John L. Davis is good. He's a good player, but I don't know. Don't get me wrong. Yeah, I'm with you, but I just don't see. You just don't see it happen. You don't see Cinderellas happen 2 years in a row.
Fair
I
enough,
can't
fair
bank
enough.
on Florida Atlantic. I can bank on the North Texas Mean Green.
Owls flying low, the Mean Green flying high. I like it. I refuse to do Elite Eight picks. I can't pick that many teams.
All right, all
I
right.
did. I start looking at the papers and I was like, dude, I can't do it. That's too many. But I will give you my final four picks.
Let's
In
hear
no
'em.
particular order. I got Arkansas, I have Marquette. We hit on them earlier. They're legit. I got Duke and I got Baylor.
So who's in your title game?
I had to do it to them. It's a 30-year anniversary, so I'm going Arkansas and Duke.
Arkansas and Duke.
A
I
rematch.
like those
They
picks.
play. They play end of this month in the Bud. Give me the rematch in the Natty game.
Who wins? It's
We
all
don't have
about
anyone.
fun. It's predictions.
We
You got to pick one.
we don't. I'm gonna be honest here. that Trevin Brazil, Kyle Filipowski battle will be legit. It will. That will be a good battle. We'll get to see it in the regular season. But if this happens, give me Jeremiah Davenport. Hit a game winner, son. Give me them hogs.
All right, all right, all right. Well, I mentioned my Final Four of Kansas, Illinois, Arkansas, and North Texas. My title game, though, I can't go no Cinderellas no more. Give me two powerhouses. Give me Brad Underwood. Give me Bill Self going at it. You might call me a homer for this, but man, I just like
I
that
can't call
squad
you a
that Brad.
homer. I just picked my team to win the Natties. So you know we're not going to do it now because I just picked it. That's how that goes.
Why you think that I got Kansas winning this game? I think I think Crybaby Hunter somehow managed to win his first ever game against the Illini on the biggest stage, taking the title away from all these Illini fans like myself that are just dying to get ourselves a title.
The
But
only
I
reason you're
will
not going to win
say,
that game is because they're in the Big Ten, and the Big Ten can't do it.
I don't know. We'll see. I think he's figured out you got to build your squad more like a Big 12 SEC squad or a Big East squad as opposed to a Big Ten. And Brad Underwood that's why I think he may run through the Big Ten because he built his squad more like one of those rather than a Big Ten squad this year. I mean, Danger only got 12 minutes the other night against EIU, and that's against EIU. But I will say that game could easily tilt the Illini's way, and I could also see your Razorbacks in Arkansas. I could see Baylor, or I could see Marquette. I think those are my teams that if I looked at right now, I could say any of those five could probably win the national title.
I would love to see a Illinois Arkansas game in the title, just for the smack talk that would happen between us.
Oh my God, it would be crazy. All
I just
right.
hope you know, like we finally got to settle that debate last year, and it made my week. It made my week.
All right, give me the moment that clutched your pearls this week.
Dude, it's got to be Jacoby Walter, the young fella, dropping 28 on an experienced Auburn crew. The fella's legit. Keep your eye on him. I was clutching my pearls.
Well, I'm going to tell you what I can't pick out individual performances. Mine just has to be the big one. AP number 4, Michigan State. Tom Izzo's squad losing to James Madison. James Madison, dude. James Madison. What in the world is going on up there in East Lansing, man? Like, oh, that clutched my pearls, man. All right. One last
They
thing.
they Michigan State shot 3-pointers about as well as our Final Four picks went. They're about 1 for 20, son. I mean,
Yeah.
that's bad.
Yeah. Oh, okay. All right. Well, it was good getting on here and talking a little bit, having a little fun, enjoying our time here. We're gonna close this out with letting everybody know this podcast brought to you by Caleb Mawson Media. Visit him with all your photography and videography needs. Thank you for listening in. Hope you can catch us next week.